So because we know how to set up the game, we're not going to need the rule book and we're not going to need the quick start tutorial for now, so we can put those aside. We're going to choose Rosalind as our starting character, and we need to choose the tier 1, which has the single dash on it, and not the tier 2, which is her upgraded character. So we're going to choose tier 1, so we put that aside for now. Then we need to take the dashboard, which is really the center of the playing area. We put her character sheet in like this, so that we have access to all of her skill positions and positions to place further tokens there. Also, we know that her starting stats need to be set, and Rosalind starts with a 9 in her starting sanity. She starts with 11 on her vitality, and both her déjà vu and her lucid dreaming is starting at 1. Now from the punch board, the only tokens we need for now is the events marker, which is that one, and her starting set of elder runes. So all characters start with 3 of the fortune runes, and we're also going to take a master rune for a reason that we'll show you in just a minute. The rest of these tokens we don't need for now, because we actually have updated, upgraded tokens in this version of the game, so we're going to use those instead. So the dice we can just put aside until we need them. In fact, all the tokens can be put aside for now. The only thing we do need is the XP tracker marker, which goes on the first space where it's shown. The next thing we can take is the events tracker card, which we need to place somewhere within easy reach, and the event marker goes on the lower space, the blue space right there. Next we take our item cards, and the first item cards should really be like this, but the first item card that we always need to start a new game is the strange heirloom, which all dreamers start with the strange heirloom, so that gets placed at the top in protected slot 1. And then we take the master rune that we took aside, and that goes on the top as it's shown on the card. Now, because this is going to be a very short game, a short setup, so we're going to take the 1 shard card, which is like the extra life, and it says on the card that we need to gain 1 extra déjà vu, so we can upgrade her déjà vu to the number 2, and then we draw 1 extra item card, which we'll do in just a minute. So we put that aside. So her starting gear in every game is within the first set of cards, item cards, up to the number 14. So we're going to take those initial 14 cards, shuffle them up, because we draw these at random. So all dreamers start the game with a random set of 3 item cards to start with. So the ones we are going to get is the sturdy boots, a bag of nuts, and some coins from Earth. Also, we get the extra item from the 1 shard card, so we draw that as well. So we get our first clue as to what's happening in the dream. All the other item cards get added to the main item deck, and in fact they get shuffled up into the main item deck, which for now we'll put aside. All other card decks are only drawn when required due to story card encounters, so the threat deck gets put aside. The lore deck, which is the secret clues and knowledge required to win the game, gets put aside down here. The condition cards also form a deck over to one side. And then last of all, we have the locked item cards, which are shown by this locked icon on the back of them. They also get put aside in a separate deck to the open cards. Okay, so the last thing that needs to be put out is the story cards and the reference cards. Reference cards, obviously, just put them aside for now. And then the story cards are all made up into decks where the artwork on the story cards matches the cover card, the portal cards. So this is Celophaeus here. So it doesn't matter where you put these as long as you put them within easy reach in the playing area. So there's the white ship, enchanted woods. These story decks get added to in the expansions as more cards get added to the decks. There's Dialathlene. And then the location cards, these are specific, they're hexagonal icons rather than the circular icons, and at the moment these are all locked away. They have a locked symbol on them, and or up there, and they're locked away there in their grey passive form at the moment, so you just need to put those aside so you have access to them later on. And then the last thing is the locked story cards, which again all have a locked symbol after the number at the top and at the bottom. And all of these can just be kept in one large deck for the time being, because they get drawn specifically when referenced on another story card. It will say draw card 109, for example, and you would then find this card 109 and draw it from this deck of cards. So these just need to be put aside somewhere within easy reach. And that's the setup for DreamEscape.